Today I'll be talking about a 3-step success system, and this is a easy to follow system that I'm sure as I start to talk through it, it will really start to make sense and you'll be able to relate this exactly to where you're at, but also take some helpful tips as well. If you do get anything out of today's talk or episode, then please do comment below or let us know if you do have any questions or would like any further support, getting started on your health and fitness journey or taking it to that next level. So if you're watching live, give me a thumbs up, give me a hi. Always feel free to chuck some questions in the comment section below as well. I love a little bit of interaction as well. So thank you so much for jumping on. Hello. Now, so today I'm talking about a 3-step success system, and these are 3 easy steps that, can be implemented right now. This is going to help you take the next step in your fitness journey, or it's going to help you get started. So one of the things that I spoke about a couple of weeks back was actually in regards to our habit cycle and also habit stacking, getting comfortable with, discomfort. And we actually spoke about the types of habits and how to adopt new habits. But this is now going to talk about really solidifying those habits and how you can make sure that you continue on your journey. So number 1 is to actually go and consciously practice and reward yourself. So you actually have to consciously practice these new habits and apply the rewards to them. This is going to make sure that, like I spoke about in the last conversation around habits, it's going to help really make sure that we are creating those new neural pathways and we're not taking that easy or that, automatic response, right? So practice new habits often and reward yourself often, but also meaningfully. So generally, like if we look at self-care, for example, people look at self-care and it's like, oh, getting my nails done or, going out for a drink with girlfriends. But we need to make it a little bit more meaningful to yourself. Again, like I spoke about, we need to make sure that the habits, the goals, everything aligns with exactly where you want to go, because then the reward is going to release that dopamine effect, which then gives you that good positive loop. So again, if we're going back to the cue, the routine and the reward, talking about that habit cycle that we did discuss and how that can actually fit into every single habit that we want to implement, right? The next thing is to replenish your willpower bucket. So everybody knows what, or has an understanding what willpower is. So willpower is exactly that. It's like that inner strength to carry out different or difficult tasks. It's a cognitive sum of your cognitive resource, your attention, your ability to show up, to, push outside of your comfort zone. Now, what happens is, providing that you have a good restful sleep and we're feeling well and everything's going fantastic, then every day our willpower is restored, right? So we wake up and we think about it as a bit of a bucket. If we have a willpower bucket, then every day we should wake up with that nice and full. Now, over the day, things can actually start to drain that bucket. Things like stress, trying to multitask, having to make complex decisions, not actually fueling your mind or your body properly with the right nutrition, rest or recovery. And then also, that additional fatigue or lack of recovery can really start to drain that willpower bucket as well. Hence why if you've ever gotten to the end of the night or the end of the day and you've actually eaten really well all day and you're pretty proud of yourself, but then by the end of the day, you've had such a big workload, you've had to deal with maybe study, with kids, with, anything else that's come up in that day. You are exhausted. Your willpower bucket is depleted, which means it's easy to go through KFC, right? So if you can relate to that, just give me a thumbs up or a yes in the comments below. If you've ever found yourself at the end of the day, you are so exhausted, so tired, that you go to that default neural pathway of just taking a easier alternative or a less than perfect alternative. So why we want to actually replenish this willpower bucket it is super important to make sure that we replenish. Yes, your willpower bucket is going to get drained. That's inevitable. That's not something that we can just always keep full and topped up, right? It's going to get drained, but we need to be able to learn the tools, the tips, how we can actually replenish that willpower bucket each day or when needed. So a couple of things that you can do is look at avoiding the low resource loop. So the low resource loop is basically talking about things that, deplete from your resources, from your tool bucket, right? From your toolkit. And I've spoken about this all the time, but like we always go into a situation with the toolkit and we want to be able to use what we need in any situation to continue to achieve. So the low willpower loop is basically when we go into that stage of our bucket's depleted, then we start to tap into those automatic behaviors that potentially are exactly what led us to the situation of needing to adopt a new habit in the first place. So we start to go back to automatically just making an extra cup of coffee a day, automatically buying takeaway, automatically staying up late on our phones and not getting the rest that we need. All of these little things that can actually start to accumulate and stack into a poorer outcome than what we're actually looking for. And the automatic behavior comes from, again, that mind's path for least resistance. So it doesn't want to have to feel discomfort. It actually wants us to feel comfortable and to be looked after. And this is why it's so easy to, start something and then feel like it's easier to just drop off and we find ourselves back at the beginning. So this is where we need to basically interrupt the pattern. We interrupt the pattern of turning to those automatic behaviors of skipping the gym because we're tired or, not meal prepping on a Sunday because we had an event that night before. We need to just get through that little stage of discomfort to make sure that we are able to push through and get through that habit loop of cue, routine, reward until that becomes our new norm, right? So what we need to do is actually fill that bucket. We need to continue to replenish the willpower bucket, and that can be done through sleep, taking breaks often, especially if you're somebody who, if you're working 2 jobs, you've got kids, you're maybe studying as well, you've got lots going on. Where in that day can you start to implement small little breaks to make sure that your mind is getting a break? And I mean like a full switch off, and whatever that is for you. I know for myself at the moment, I'm actually trying to read before bed because I know that if I sit there on my phone, I don't get to sleep as early, which means I don't get the rest, which means my willpower bucket's already depleted for the next day. So, and I'm much more likely to get bored of a book and put that down than I am to get bored of whatever's happening on my phone, right? So if you're the same, if you find yourself easily amused by switching between things and, to-dos on your phone, then give me a like, let me know if that's something that you also struggle with. You want to start to take tiny steps that actually give and provide quick wins. So this is a really good one, like taking a small step of, for example, the small step of entering in a snack before you actually eat it. It's already giving you that little quick dopamine fix of, okay, I'm eating this snack because I've already put it in. That's one less stress. I know what I'm having. I don't have to have any guilt around the snack. And I know it's a conscious decision. We are much more supported within what we're doing, and we're much more confident with what we're doing when it's a conscious decision. Think back to when you've actually gone into the cupboard and you've mindlessly started eating. And then at the end of it, when you actually go, oh, gosh, I finished the whole, row of Tim Tams or something, there is a level of guilt or dissatisfaction that comes with that, as opposed to pre-tracking or, actually planning to have 1-2 Tim Tams. There is a level of satisfaction that allows you to enjoy that experience and then go on with your day. And then that is forgotten about, and that's not continuously draining your willpower bucket throughout the day, right? I hope you're still with me and that's making sense. So other things that we can start to do is just, where you can, start to single task rather than multitasking and trying to do everything at once, which we know is really not efficient. And in the end, try and just do one single task at once and do it well. Get it done efficiently and then move on to the next one. Move your body regularly, because we know that movement and motion creates emotion. So if we are feeling well and we're moving our body, we're feeling strong, fit, healthy, confident, then we are going to be able to show up strong, fit, healthy, confident. And then the decision making is also less of a task, right? Because even though it may not be a physical drain of energy, it's a cognitive drain of energy, and you are going to need to replenish that at some stage as well. Another thing is to make sure that we are eating with mind, eating mindfully, but with willpower in mind, right? So if we just forget willpower all the time, every time we have a meal or a snack, then that willpower window of, okay, I'm going to have my chicken salad and a banana, and that's my lunch. The willpower to stay within that and feel satisfied and feel that satisfaction, it goes. And once we lose the willpower around meals, we start to lose control. When we lose control, that's when the dissatisfaction, the guilt, the frustration, the doubt that you'll ever be able to lose the weight, X, Y, Z, whatever your goal is, that's when that kicks in. So it's really important, like I said, to make sure that we actually, the willpower bucket is going to get drained. So it's like, let's be realistic. We can't always keep that full to the brim. And there's going to be times where you're going to have to multitask, and you're going to have to, be up late, or, not be able to be as efficient with what you're doing. But that's why we need to know how you as an individual are going to replenish your willpower bucket. And then number 3 is to manage your uncomfortable feelings, because these are going to come up just like everything. Whenever we are trying to restart a difficult task, whenever we are trying to implement new goals or a new workout routine, or trying to potentially track for the first time so you can get a really good understanding of the food you're consuming so that you can achieve your goals, then there's definitely going to be some uncomfortable feelings. And this one is a lot of like doing the personal work, right? But we don't need to get into that too deep today. So some ways that you can manage uncomfortable feelings is basically to like sit back, and this can be expressing to somebody else, or it can be to yourself. It can be on paper, pen and paper in your phone, whatever the case may be. Describe the feeling discomfort in as much detail as possible, with a little bit of curiosity, but no judgment. Absolutely no judgment as to how you're feeling. And then step 2 is you could go just to your breath and just imagine your body making space around that feeling. So think about that feeling as an object, right? And then let's make a little bit of space around it. This is how we're going to be able to break it down. Step 3, commit to carrying the feeling exactly as it is. Like I said, curiosity, no judgment. Without struggling with it or trying to get rid of it or trying to figure it out all the time. Because that is, again, adding to cognitive stress, to emotional stress, and it's draining our willpower bucket. You want to let it be, or let it go if it passes, okay? If it passes, let it go. Don't then dig up old wounds, okay? And then step 5, you want to take value-directed action. So come back to what's important right here, right now. Remembering that what's important is your ultimate goal, not what you want now, okay? Remembering that what is led you to want to start to, create new habits or live a better lifestyle, what has led you there? And let's just revisit that. There are 5 really deep and emotional steps, which if you're at home or if you've got the afternoon to do, you can sit down and write that out. And that would be the optimum task to do, to really try and sit with the bad feeling or the poor feeling and then work your way through it. However, one thing that I found really helps me, and it's not an easy thing, again, it's not something that used to be automatic, it is now, because it's something that I have consciously practiced and I've consciously seen reward from it. So always revisit the pain that actually led you to have to make a change. So, and some of you guys may relate to this, some of you guys may absolutely not. But for me, making a change to my lifestyle all those years ago, it came from a place of pain. It came from a place of not wanting to feel so uncomfortable, not wanting to be bullied, not wanting to feel like people were judging me because of the way I looked, not wanting to have to go to the back of the rack every time I wanted to go shopping when my friends could just go and pick anything up off the front. You know, that's what motivated me. And I shared something the other day about, you know, fear sometimes can be a great motivator. It's not something you want to lean on all the time because that means your results are coming from a negative place. But if in the moment you need like a bit of a reality check, just revisit what it was that led you to actually want to make that change. And maybe it was something more positive. Maybe you decided to quit smoking because you know that in years to come, you're going to be able to have better lung capacity and better ability to run around with your grandkids. We can definitely look at that as opposed to the situation of where you may be, you know, hospitalized because of poor health habits that made in the past. So I'll quickly wrap that up because I don't like these going too long. And thank you, Mackenzie, for hanging around. Very much appreciated. Number one is consciously practice and reward. So make sure you're practicing the new habit often and rewarding yourself, but make sure the reward is meaningful to you. Number two, replenish your willpower bucket, and I've spoken about ways to do that. Number three is managing the uncomfortable feelings because, again, it's inevitable. They're going to come, it's going to pop up, but we need to, again, have the tools in our toolkit to be able to manage those uncomfortable feelings so they either don't last as long or so that we can overcome them and continue to move into the next phase or the next thing that is going to pop up. Because as we know, that is what happens. We do need to push through that little bit of discomfort to get the reward. So if you do actually want a little bit of help on how to manage those uncomfortable feelings, I do have a resource I've popped together. So let me know if that's something that would be helpful. And if you did miss the habit cycle episode, it's a really great one. Just leave a thumbs up below and I'll tag you in there, and we talk about the habit cycle and how to actually get started. This is kind of that next step. So thinking about it as a bit of a sequel, that you have started these new habits, but this is again how to really make sure that you can solidify them as part of your lifestyle. So thank you guys so much for watching live. Again, please reach out if you ever do need some additional support in getting started or taking your health and fitness goals to the next level. It's my mission to help women do exactly that. So if there is ever any questions, please don't be shy. Reach out and I would love to have a bit of a chat. But thank you guys so much. Any questions, drop them below and I'll see you soon.